How many jobs does a parent have? 2 jobs. One job is you have to shower your child with love, and you have to take care of them and hug them, right? And give them emotional love and caring. And the other job is you have to be mechanech them. You have to teach them right from wrong. 2 jobs. Sometimes you say, oh, great. And sometimes you say, no, right? 2 jobs. Says Rav Shach, Zatzal, we missed the memo. That was only until Rabbi Shua ben Gamla. Over 2,000 years ago, the Gemara tells us that Rabbi Shua ben Gamla opened up what's called the yeshiva system, and they are responsible to be mechanech your children as a shliach for you. So all of the chinuch that you're supposed to do for the child, you're doing 40, 50 hours a week, and you're paying tuition for that. He says, yeshiva, the rabbeim, the Rosh Hashiva, the yeshiva, is your shliach to do chinuch. And now, he says, you're left with one tafkid echad bilvad, laharif alehem ahava. They can't do that in yeshiva. A mommy says, I love you like crazy. Tati says, I love you like crazy. Build them up. I like you. And you look at them with love shooting out of your eyes. You're my favorite. You're my favorite. You're my favorite. And you're on their side even when they struggle, especially when they struggle. I chinuch. He says, yeah, you're doing chinuch. 50 hours a week you're doing chinuch. That's why you send them to yeshiva. So it used to be the parents were mechanech. Today in Chabad, in a lot of places, you go there, you have to be mechanech your own kids. I went to Vienna like 40 years ago. So I walked into middle of class. The guy is teaching his kids, Kametz Aleph, he's the Rebbe. But for the rest of the world, we actually have a yeshiva system, And that's what their job is. Chinuch is taken care of. They are your representatives. They will teach chinuch to the child. Your job, tafkid echad bilvad, laharif aleim ahava, to shower them with love. And then they're emotionally healthier, and then they're able to learn better. He says that's what you need to do for their chinuch. Unfortunately, fathers come and they start doing chinuch on their child, and they make the child weaker emotionally, and they can't learn, and they don't have good self-esteem, and they can't concentrate. That's chinuch? No. That's chinuch? Which sefer did you find that in? There must be a sefer with pictures. First it goes like this, and this, and this, and this, shows you exactly how to do backhand, and then forehand, and then it says v'yesh lahaisif nu v'yesh nehagim loimar It's like loikis and the shitis, and that's how you teach your child to love davening. And then you walk home with him and you show him, the way you daven today, I'm not looking at you. And the way you act today and the way you behave, I'm embarrassed to walk with you. And then they develop a love for Torah and Yiddishkeit. Absolutely ridiculous. So the Chiddush is, the Gemara says in Yavamis, that Abaya, I love saying this, Abaya and Rav Papa were having a fight. A fight in Shita, in learning, Amayroim. Now, just to understand, an Amayra, how can we understand an Amayra? Who's the holiest person you could think of? Ramosha Feinstein, right? And Chavetz Chaim, and the Frierdiker Rebbe, right? Let's be fair. The Sfas Emes, right? We keep on going. The Archaim HaKadosh, Amayra, right? Amayroim. You can't get holier. I'm saying this is unbelievable, right? And Abaya says a svara, Rav Papa knocks it down. Abaya says a svara, Rav Papa knocks it down. Abaya comes up with another svara, Rav Papa knocks it down. Abaya says, and look at Rashi, Kimudumani, it seems to me that the reason why you're sharper than me and I can't outwit you is because you have parents that take care of all your needs. Abaya was a yasam. Abaya didn't have a mommy and a daddy. Rav Papa had parents. And Abaye says, I think that you're sharper than me because you have parents who take care of all your needs. You would think by the time they're 20 and they're in brisk, you think he gets a special lunch from mommy with a heart and it makes a difference? And the father comes and says, I'm so proud to be your father. It makes a difference once he's a Rosh Hashiva. It made a difference to Amayroim. He didn't say, you're smarter than me, He says, I think you're smarter than me because you have parents and I don't. Shemesapem l'cha kol tzarkecha. You came with Papa. You came with a little Uncle Moshe lunchbox, right? And mesapem kol tzarkecha is not just physical. You came with a hug. You came with, I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud to be your father. It makes a difference to an amoira. You think it doesn't make a difference to your 5th grader? You think it doesn't make a difference to your mesifta bacher? One more story, true story. All my stories are true. Ma'aser shahaya mamish with my friend. I had a friend that was nifter a few years ago. Suddenly, he had a heart attack. Young man, 49, 50. By the Levaya, his son told a story. His son was like 20, 21. He told us the following story. He said that he spoke to his father on the phone. He was in yeshiva, mainstream yeshiva, not a kip, not a kid at risk, regular kid. And he told his father he's going through a hard time, something is charusa or didn't show, whatever it was. He was going through a hard time. The next day, he got a knock on the door. Opens up the door in Eretz Yisrael. His father's there. His father flew to Eretz Yisrael, took him out to eat, gave him a hug, flew back to America. He says, we didn't even talk about anything. He didn't give me advice, nothing. He gave me a tati. He gave me a father. He gave me the ability to deal with what I was going through. Took me out to eat, gave me a hug, went back to America. So I was Meisif. I wanted to add on. This young boy, whose father left him in this world, has a father with him for the rest of his life. He'll be 30, he'll be 40, he'll be 50, he'll be 60. Ehatatata. He knows my father believed in me. My father would give up everything for me. His father didn't come on a private jet. He got on El Al, on economy or whatever. Regular guy. He has a father for the rest of his life. He'll always remember he has a father. And then we have other kids who their father is alive and they don't have a father. Or even worse, they think of their father and it takes away their emotional energy. Because the father said, nothing will ever become of you. I can't look at you because you have a piercing, or you're not good enough and I'm embarrassed of you. All of that. And those guys are Yisayimim. They should say Kaddish. You are the only people that can give your children parents, whether they're in yeshiva and they're tzaddikim like Abaya and Rav Papa, or whether they're on the street. No matter what, you're the only chance that they have. After a training, the following Monday, by group, the week later, everybody comes to group, standing right here, you know the story, and my dear friend who I just met the week before, he comes to me, he says, Avi, I gave my daughter an iPhone. I said, no. You gave your daughter a daddy. This is a kid who was full of tattoos, who was suicidal, and didn't feel her father's love because they were listening to all the advice. Tell her she can't come into the house if she's not there. She's dying, and they're giving advice. You know the story with the dying and the advice? This guy goes over to the Rebbe and he says, he has 5,000 chickens. There's a magefa, right? There's a plague, and I lost 500 chickens last night. What should I do? So the Rebbe says, you should go at night, you should say, Hamalach HaGoy Eloisi Mikol Ra, and you say, Shakai Shmein Matzleni Mikol Ra. Comes the next day, he says, Rebbe, I lost another 500 chickens. It didn't work. See, what should I do? He says, you should go around 3 times, and you should Zeh Kaparasi, Zeh Chalifasi, Zeh Tmurasi, and you should give money to the Meir Balanes. The next day he comes in, Rebbe, I lost another 500 chickens. What should I do? So the Rebbe tells him, okay, what you should say is, Yoshev say Sel, you go around 7 times at night, and then the next day he comes in, he goes, Rebbe, I lost another 1,000. Do you have any other eitzes? He says, eitzes habach plenty. I have plenty of eitzes. Question is how many chickens you have. Right, chickens are dying, and he has eitzes. So these kids are dying. She wants to go. She was nebuch molested. She's going tattoos or more tattoos, and what are they getting? Eitzes. She has to come home by 10 o'clock. It's not a free thing. We don't give you money for bad stuff. We don't know all the eitzes. Meanwhile, eitzes habach kinig, therapist said. Plenty of eitzes. Did it work? Didn't work. He said, you gave her a daddy. He started crying, and he said, you were here. You were here when he was. He said, you have no idea. For the last few years, in her contact list on her tzabrach on the phone, she didn't have daddy and mommy. Under daddy's number, she had the name Satan. Rabbeinu Shalom, a good guy, getting good advice that he paid a lot of money for. If that's the advice causes you that your child thinks of you as Satan, that's the Dumus Yuknoi Shalaviv. My father hates my guts. I'm an embarrassment to the family. I wish you would disappear. You caused me so much pain. You're right. Remember who you're named after? If Zaidi was alive, he would die. He would have a heart attack. Right? This is why Bobby survived the Holocaust, to have a kid like you. Alanar Azel Lo Yispalalti. And mommy's name was Satan's mistress in her phone. After they gave the Tumadike Treifene iPhone, she changed it to dad and mom. And it's a few years later now, and she's alive. And I'm happy with that. And she's not psych ward. And she's not Utah. She doesn't need Utah. She needs Utah. The mothers and the tatis. Tatis are so used to saying, Mommy, you take care of it. Mommy, you take care of it. Nobody could save a kid like a father. You need both. You need two legs to walk on. If one is short, they'll limp their whole lives and fall. Mommy has to be at 100 NKN, and daddy needs to be at 100 NKN. Otherwise, they limp. Especially tatis. Daddies, be a man. Don't say, wife, you take care of it. You take care of it. It says in Mishlei, Ben chacham yisamach av, uven ksil tugas imoy. Pashut pshat is, Ben chacham, if your son is a chacham, yisamach av, the father's very happy as the son is a chacham. Uben ksil, but if you have a son who's a fool, he becomes tugas imoy, becomes the problem of the mother. So Matzudas David, or so I forgot who says, because he ends up not in yeshiva and the father's at work, so he's home making his mother crazy. I wanted a title like this. We're not talking about the son. Everybody could have sons. Some are smart, some are not so smart. Some go through foolish stages. Everything is okay. Ben Chacham, a son of a Chacham. If the father's a Chacham, Yisamachav, he's always happy. He's always happy. The kid's steiging and he gets 100, he's happy. The kid has a learning disability, he's struggling, he's happy. He's not angry at his kid. This is the kid that Hashem gave me. Alanar has a hispalalti. I'll deal with it. A kid is nice and calm at the Shabbos table, he's happy. A kid is a shtickle hyper and whatever, he's thinking, okay, one day he's going to be flipping buildings. You know, all the kids with ADD and ADHD, you know, they're the ones flipping buildings, making money. And you know who's working for them? All the A-plus guys. They went to become an accountant, and they're working for the guy who's flipping buildings, and he's in businesses. And which business you are? He goes, I don't know. Yesterday I was in this business. Tomorrow I'm in this business. I know so many successful people. They're ADD, ADHD. They couldn't sit 5 minutes in a shiur, including me. Not that I'm successful, but I can't sit in a shiur for 5 minutes. Unless I'm giving the shiur. And even then I can't sit for 5 minutes. So many people, by the Kesher Nafshi Shabbaton, most Askanim and most we are ADD and ADHD. It's a fact of life. They're most successful people. But we have to put them into a little cage, a little metal cage, and they have to sit. Otherwise, they're BAD. Right? I always say your kids could have a lot of stuff. ADD, ADHD, OCD, MP3, JFK, BPD, but they're not BAD. They're not bad. They're not BAD. I was in the middle of saying something. Oh, thank you. Somebody's not ADD here. Ben Chacham, the father is a Chacham. Yisamachav, he's happy with his lot. He's happy with his lot. You have to be Mesameach Bechelkoi. Reb Chaim Volozhin asked the Vilna Gaon. It says that Hashem has all the midas that we have. How is Hashem Mesameach Bechelkoi? He has everything. Mesameach Bechelkoi means on what I don't have. If I have everything, it's not a midah of being happy with my lot. I have everything. Happy, when we want you to be happy with your lot, it means being happy that you don't have what you don't have. Be happy with what you do have. Hashem has everything. He asked the Chaim Volozhin, he asked the Vilna Gaon, how is Hashem Mesameach Bechelkoi? The Vilna Gaon said, Ki chelek Hashem amoy. We are Hashem's lot. Klal Yisrael is Hashem's lot. And even when we're not so like we should be, Hashem is Mesameach Bechelkoi. even by Chorban Beis Hamikdash, even by Yashamnu, Baganu, and Al-Chetz, and all the Averis, and problems, and dysfunction, and Avodah Zaras, and Shvichas Damim, and Lashon Haras, and Rechilas, even with everything, Ki Chelek Hashem Amoy, Hashem is Mesameach B'Chelkoi. I wouldn't change you for the world. Nobody else. And we have to be Mesameach B'Chelkeinu. I wouldn't change my kid for anybody else. You think Hashem doesn't want to have 100 million children called Chaim Kanievsky? You think he wants us? Yeah, he'll take us because we're his children. And he takes us whether he likes it or not, whether we are right or not. That's the relationship he created when he said, Bonim atem Lashem Aleikeichem. When he said, B'ni b'chayri Yisrael, while we were serving idols. Why didn't he tell us to do tshuva first? Says the Nesiv Shalom, if we would do tshuva first, we would think only when we're good. B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. Ahafti eschem amar, only when we're good. Hashem wanted to show us lahayros ulaharos, to show us and to prove us for the future. Shaloi mipnei maseyam atoivim heim banai. Not because of your good actions that you think that you are so good that now you are my child. No, but because you're be'etzem b'ni b'chayri. In fact, those who think that I deserve to be a ben, because I'm so good, have less of a chance of Hashem actually wanting to be their father. How do you know that? By a Baal Avera, it says, Ani Hashem ashoichin itam b'soich tumasam. Hashem can handle sin. By a Baal Gaiva, it says, Ein ani v'hu yicholim lador. A Baal Gaiva says, I can't be with him. What would you rather be? A tzaddik, a Baal Gaiva, or a Rasha, a Baal Avera, who's humble? I don't know. We should try to be both of the good stuff. But a lot of the people who look down at their siblings, ugh, feh, it's a Russian, and that. I'm like, and you think you're so great? Yeah, what do you mean? Brisk. 3 years brisk, man. I'm good. Yeah, you're a Baal Gaiva. You're a Baal Gaiva. You think your brother's a Baal Taiva, but you're a Baal Gaiva. No? Between the whole family, you'll end up with a Baal Gaiva, Baal Taiva, Baal Agola. I don't know which one is better. I don't judge either of them. We all have to improve ourselves in every way. Ben chacham yisamachav, when the tata is a chucham, the father's a chacham, he's happy. He's happy. Not everything is exactly like I had in mind under the chuppah. We envisioned that we're going to have a photocopy machine. We're going to have 12 kids, 6 boys, 6 girls. 6 boys are going to be exactly like mommy, Tati. See, that's the problem nowadays, you know. 6 boys are going to be exactly like Tati, not less from and not more from. People don't like when the kids are too from either, by the way. It's terrible. If they, what do they call it? Flip out? They flip out. Oh man, he put on a black hat. OMG, where'd this kid come from? You know that there's even a support group for Freie parents when the kids become from. They need support. It's painful. It's called pork. Yeah, parents of religious kids. And if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go work for them. You have to accept your kids, even though he's Shomer Shabbat. Listen, accept the kids. You'll see he'll go back off the derech, I'm telling you. Buy him the black hat. What? You heard this Fishoff guy? Well, the therapist's going to be angry. He says to buy the black hat? What, is he crazy? How will they ever know? How will they ever? They'll think that they're okay. We have to keep on telling them, you won't come into our house with that black hat. I got all my speeches. I just got to reverse it. So ben chacham yisamachav, ben ksil. But when the father is a fool, tugasimai becomes the mommy's problem. He says, go to a meeting, go to one of those meetings for mothers. I think we're the only meeting that's for mothers and fathers. All the other ones are the mommies. The mommies have to go to the meetings, go to a therapist. The fathers get out of the picture. You take care of him. I just got the only round of applause that I ever got, only from half the audience, all female.